This is Citizen Weekend with Lilian Muli.
A very good evening to you. Many thanks for joining us. This is the latest on Citizen Weekend. Let's take a look at what's making headlines tonight.
Hiyo gari ilikuwa imejaa mpaka kwa mlango. Traffic wamechukua pesa pale kwa kona.
9 people die as matatu rolls over a bridge and plunges into Mbagathi River in Karen.
It has been passed by time. Regional, ethnic, balkanization politics. The politics of personality worship.
It was shameless tribalism. Ruto allies dismissed Limuru 3 as a return to politics of ethnicity.
Wabunge wasidanganye wananchi, wale wanapitisha ushuru ni wabunge.
Azimio One Kenya Coalition slam contents of Finance Bill 2024 and vow to push changes to contentious proposed law in Parliament.
Sisi area hii hatuwezi piga mchana. Watoto sasa wanategemea chakula. Ni jioni tu peke yake ndio wanakula nyumbani.
Fear and apprehension in Baringo. Residents worry about proposal by the government to scrap school feeding program. Many thanks for being with us, and this is the latest at this hour. 9 people have died after a matatu they were in rolled off Ushirika Road and landed in the Mbagathi River in the Gataka area of Karen. 6 people died on the spot, while 3 succumbed to their injuries during treatment. 19 others were injured and rushed to various hospitals in Kajiado and Nairobi counties. And as Ben Kirui reports, the bus was not roadworthy, and the driver, who is among the fatalities, was not the regular driver, but one of the so-called quote-unquote squad drivers. Take a look.
9:40 a.m. Saturday. 9 lives were lost along this road at the Gataka area of Karen after the Naboka Sacco bus plunged into Mbagathi River. The bus reportedly lost control while going up a steep road before veering off and plunging into the river. 6 people died on the spot, while 3 others succumbed to their injuries during treatment. 19 individuals were injured and were rushed to various hospitals in Nairobi and Kajiado counties. Among the survivors with minor injuries is Faith Siombua.
Kipanda saa ikifika hapa kwa mtu ikiruka ile bumps kulikuwa tu vizuri. Kwenda vizuri deradi enda kupiga river hivi. Kupiga river bwana kwanza ikarol kuroro hivi umekanga kaniambia wewe Faith dedi.
The bus driver was among those who died on the spot. Reports indicate that the bus was not roadworthy and the driver was not the regular one, but one of the so-called squad drivers. This accident has largely been blamed on traffic police officers, with the locals reporting that their acceptance of bribes contributed to the incident.
But ilikuwa imejaa sana. Ilikuwa imejaa mpaka kwa mlango. Sasa nilikuwa na huko ndani kwa mlango. Mimi ndio niliingia mwisho. Kuna mama alikuwa anamtoa tukamshikisha tukiwa huko juu.
Sisi tuko na nurseries hapa karibu. Kwa hivyo hiyo gari ilikuwa imetupita. Tukifanya kazi tulikuwa tushafika. Sasa venye hiyo basi ilipita kupanda tu kwa mlima, hata hakuna basi nyingine ilikuwa imepita nyuma yake. Ndio tukasikia mgurumo.
Na kama kuna hiyo allegation kwamba officers wanachukua hongo, wanafuga macho ndio kamati zile magari zinavuja sheria, tutachunguza na kama kuna ukweli tutachukua hatua.
The ill-fated bus was en route to Nairobi from Gataka in Kajiado County when the driver lost control. Students from a nearby Embakasi Secondary School were among the first responders, providing critical assistance before a Red Cross team arrived.
Ndio wanafunzi wa hii secondary wametusaidia sana. Embakasi Secondary ndio waliruka huku kwa fence, na sisi wafanyikazi wa hapa karibu tukaingia wote kwa mto.
This is not the first accident at this location. Residents are calling for immediate safety measures such as erecting speed bumps to prevent future tragedies. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And President William Ruto's allies have thrashed the Limuru 3 meeting that took place on Friday, terming it as a divisive and tribal meeting. Speaking in Kakamega County, the leaders say the meeting was aimed at pushing a narrative that the country is not united under President William Ruto. And Marian Nyambura reports.
A day after the Limuru 3 meeting was held to take stock of Mount Kenya politics and chart the region's path, politicians allied to the Kenya Kwanza government were in Kakamega County on Saturday for a fundraiser for women groups, dismissed the resolutions made in the meeting.
Regional and ethnic politics is not only archaic and backward, but it has been passed by time. Regional, ethnic, balkanization politics, the politics of personality worship and personality-based politics is politics that is behind us.
Hasa wewe itawezekanaje ati kiongozi mtu umekuwa minister, umekuwa mbunge, ati unaita mkutano ya kusema hii mkutano ni ya jamii fulani peke yake. Hiyo ni maneno ambaye tusiruhusu katika taifa letu. Hawa ni watu ambao wanauza chuki.
The leaders say the meeting was meant to create division among Kenyans and undermine President William Ruto.
Sasa mnataka tukemee wale wa siasa ya ukabila? Tuambie riswa. Siasa ya ukabila? Siasa ya isiyo ya kuunganisha wa Kenya? Siasa ya personality cult? Tufanye siasa ambayo itaunganisha wa Kenya wote.
Na wewe kama uko ndani ya serikali na umeshauriwa kwa serikali ya Kenya Kwanza na uko ndani ya hiyo serikali ya Kenya Kwanza na uko na nia ingine, gojea, kwa sababu hatuwezi kuwa na dume wawili kwa sisi moja.
Mimi nitakuwa mstari wa mbele kuambia viongozi tuweze kuongea lugha ya maendeleo na lugha ya kuunganisha watu kwa pamoja, sio lugha ya kuongea mambo ya ukabila.
The opponents of the Limuru 3 meeting say President William Ruto should be respected and the country united for a common goal of steering the nation forward. The Limuru 3 meeting, organized largely by opponents of the Kenya Kwanza administration, has drawn the criticism of leaders loyal to the president who questioned the relevance of the meeting. Marian Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Police are investigating an incident in which a young man was shot dead during a violent confrontation between rival groups in Thika, Kiambu County on Friday evening. During the incident at the site of a proposed market in Kamenu Ward, a 26-year-old man, David Ndwati, was shot dead, while another, Anthony Kamau, was seriously injured by a bullet that lodged in his chest. Stephen Latour reports.
Lawlessness reigned in Thika Town on Friday, with supporters of Thika Town Member of Parliament Alice Nganga and those of Kamenu MCA Peter Mburu clashed in violence that resulted in the death of one person and gunshot injuries for others. Police noted that Gatundu South Member of Parliament Gabriel Kagombe shot indiscriminately at the protesters. The Member of Parliament was among a group of MPs who accompanied Nganga to the site to launch the construction of a market. However, they found the MCA at the site with a group of locals who had already subdivided the parcel of land in anticipation of ownership of market spaces. The ensuing face-off sparked the violence. At the Thika Level 5 hospital, where 46-year-old Anthony Kamau was admitted in critical condition, a doctor said the bullet had penetrated the chest cavity and punctured a vital organ. Plans are underway to transfer the injured to Kenyatta National Hospital. Area Assistant County Commissioner Philomena Nzioki was also injured in the melee and treated at Avenue Hospital, Thika, and later discharged. The Kamenu MCA Peter Mburu had on Thursday visited the contested market area and subdivided it into stalls, and a bulldozer began clearing the site.
Mambo ya ujenzi wa soko, mambo ya kuhakikisha soko zetu ziko sawa, hiyo ni kazi ambayo kikatiba ni kazi ya serikali za ugatuzi, county government. Na kwa hivyo mimi kuwa hapa, siyuko hapa kwa kubahatisha, niko hapa kwa sababu mimi ninatekeleza kazi yangu ya kikatiba.
Thika Town lawmaker Alice Nganga, a day later on Friday, also showed up with a bulldozer, accompanied by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah.
Ati rais alikuja hapa akasema hawa watu wa Kemosho tuwatengenezee hiyo stadium ikuwe stadium. Pia tutengeneze barabara. And they agreed with Mheshimiwa Alice. Alafu akasema hapa Kiganjo lazima mpate soko moja ambayo sio kubwa sana na ile ingine kubwa ya Madaraka sababu Kiganjo ward ni kubwa.
According to the MCA, Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi had set aside 50 million Kenya shillings for the Kamenu market. He accused the area MP of meddling in county projects. DCI teams have swung into action and are pursuing leads on what transpired in the Thika incident.
ODM MPs have rallied to have the Azimio coalition shoot down the Finance Bill 2024, terming it punitive and unbearable. The MPs who accompanied ODM leader Raila Odinga to Migori for the installation of the Semi-Council of Elders said they are ready to reject the bill and put on notice any opposition MP who will give a nod to the proposed law. ODM leader Raila Odinga did not, however, speak on the matter and instead called for ODM party unity. Stephen Letor reports.
Even as the National Assembly prepares for debate on the Finance Bill 2024 next week when the House resumes from recess, ODM MPs are already regrouping, mounting an opposition battalion to flash a red card on the bill. In the company of ODM leader Raila Odinga in Migori County, the ODM MPs vowed to shoot down the bill.
I have already seen preliminarily that it is a bad bill that is going to hurt our people, and we need to reject and resist it with all the might and strength that we have.
Wale watu serikali ya juu wanaleta finance bill bunge ili tupitishe hiyo ushuru. Sasa wabunge wasidanganye wananchi, wale wanapitisha ushuru ni wabunge. Hao ndio wanapiga kura.
Baba, kabla hujaenda AU, tuitie tu maandamano moja tafadhali. Tumalizane na huyu mtu.
The political leaders accuse the Kenya Kwanza administration of piling more taxes on Kenyans despite the hard economic times.
Shida si mwananchi wa kawaida. Shida hata si Ruto huyo mwenyewe. Shida ni viongozi wanaitwa wabunge na sisi wenyewe ambao tumepewa mamlaka.
However, ODM leader Raila Odinga kept off the finance bill politics and instead rooted for unity in the ODM party amid internal squabbles over who takes over in case he succeeds in his quest for the African Union Commission chairmanship in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Strong ODM will only come through the unity of the leadership of ODM. And we must help those who are down here. ODM must stand the test of time. ODM will live beyond Baba.
Kama kuna mafunzo ambayo tumefundishwa na Baba ni kwamba tushikane na Baba ameweka mwelekeo. He set a foundation for us so that we can exist. The institution can exist way after our existence.
Mukitaka tuwe na rais 2027 paka tushikane. Kwa sababu hata Mombasa wakitoka tumeenda chini. Western ikitoka tumeenda chini.
The Azimio One Kenya coalition constituent parties have of late drifted apart, with the principals appearing distracted from forging a united front against the Kenya Kwanza regime as the parties seemingly chart their own paths. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
And Third Alliance Party leader Ekuru Okot says he will petition the United Nations seeking to put a stop to the deployment of National Police Service officers to Haiti. In his petition, Okot accuses Kenya and the United States of being among countries that have meddled in the affairs of Haiti, causing suffering among the people of Haiti. Okot says the planned deployment of the Kenyan police is an excuse to carry on with the recolonization of Haiti. The Third Way Alliance Party leader, who filed a petition in court on Friday seeking the same end to put a stop to Kenya police deployment in Haiti, says the plan will be in violation of the Kenyan constitution. He argues that Kenya has her own security challenges and lacks sufficient information on the scale, scope and nature of the conflict in Haiti. Okot, whose petition to the United Nations is done alongside former MP Kabando Akabando and former Nairobi Town Clerk Philip Kisia, says all caring citizens of the world should protest what the trio calls the intended invasion of Haiti. He spoke in Nairobi today.
The request must be made by a democratically elected president of the requesting country. Haiti does not have a president since the killing of Jovenel Moïse in July 2021. The former Prime Minister of Haiti, Ariel Henry, who actually resigned at the time, did not have those powers under the Constitution of Haiti, and therefore making the whole reciprocal agreement a nullity from the very beginning.
The law, the Constitution, what does it say about our Kenya police service? They can only be deployed within the jurisdiction of Kenya. And if they may, for whatever reason, be deployed outside this jurisdiction, there is a process to be followed within the law.
A former cabinet minister, Cyrus Jirongo, and Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa, as well as former Sports Permanent Secretary Ambassador Peter Kaberia, are among key suspects that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission once prosecuted on various graft-related charges. The suspects are detailed in the EACC quarterly report covering the period from January 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2024. The report indicates that investigations have been completed and files forwarded to the DPP pending the DPP's decision on each case. The EACC has recommended that Nick Mwendwa be charged with money laundering. The investigation focused on corruption allegations in the tendering process for the design, supply, testing, commissioning, and supervision of security access control, communications, audiovisual, and pitch lighting systems for 5 stadiums. These preparations, intended for the Africa Cup of Nations Championships 2018, involved a sum of 1.5 billion shillings by the State Department for Sports, Culture and the Arts. The EACC also recommended charging Kuza Farm and Cyrus Jirongo with the unlawful acquisition of public property. This relates to allegations of a fraudulent payment of 250 million shillings by the Nairobi City County government to Kuza Farm and Allied Limited as compensation for the acquisition of a land parcel in Nairobi during the fiscal year 2019-2020. Additionally, former Kirinyaga Deputy Governor Peter Ndambiri faces allegations of fraudulent practice and conflict of interest in a procurement process. Investigations revealed conflicts of interest and abuse of office in the awarding of a tender for the improvement of Kanguru Kaitheri Road in Kerugoya, Kirinyaga County. The tender was awarded to Songa General Enterprises, a company associated with Ndambiri, whose directors are his wife and children. And hundreds of residents from Cheptigit village in Kio Valley will tonight spend the night in the cold as the Kenya Wildlife Service has embarked on the demolition of houses for what it terms as encroachment. According to KWS, inhabitants have encroached Lake Kamnarok Game Reserve, threatening lives of wildlife in the area, necessitating the process to reclaim it back. And as Crispin Notieno now reports, the affected villagers say the exercise has inflicted lifelong scars amid a massive trail of destruction in the area.
At the homestead of Rhoda Lemeiguran and her husband Loris Lemeiguran in Baringo South constituency, the family has woken up to a new day. Rhoda is warming some leftover food for one of their sons to get him ready in time for school, as the rest of the children watch, uncertain of what they will have for breakfast. The couple has 8 children who heavily rely on food from school.
Sisi area hii hatuwezi pika mchana. Watoto sasa wanategemea chakula. Ni jioni tu peke yake ndio wanakula nyumbani. Ni wakati ya weekend. Huwa tunakimbia tu ndio wakule.
Kwa hii chakula ya shule anasaidia watoto.
Apologies for that hiccup. And now to the fertilizer scarcity in the country. Farmers who bought fake fertilizer during the planting season now want the government to compensate them fully. The farmers from Trans Nzoia County are worried that apart from buying fake fertilizer and not being compensated, the top dressing season is almost over before they can access the precious commodity. And as Emily Chebet reports, the Ministry of Agriculture is blaming the heavy rains on the delay to have top dressing fertilizer dispatched to various depots across the country.
It is double trouble for some farmers in Kenya's breadbasket, Trans Nzoia. Apart from buying substandard fertilizer during the planting season earlier in the year, they're now faced with another predicament. They have been forced to wait weeks on end for the promised top-dressing fertilizer that is currently in short supply. The farmers are now questioning the government's plan on the country's food security.
Mwezi mzima, 1 month, hakuna. Atuendi NCPP moja. Kidogo unaweza sikia iko Trans Nzoia, kidogo unasikia iko Eldoret, kidogo iko Kipkaren Stelia. Sasa ukifika huko unakuta laini kila mahali na hakuna hiyo mbolea. Mosh bridge hakuna.
This time wakulima wengi walikuwa wamelima. Sasa hii mbolea kushi ilikuja imeaffect kila mtu. Kwa hivyo mapato ya mwaka huu ni hatari sana kwa sababu njaa inaweza kutokea next year.
Every day that passes without access to the top-dressing fertilizer, the farmers say their hope of a good harvest is slowly fading away.
Mahindi inaenda na stages. Sasa hata ikikuja wakati huu imepitwa. Inatakiwa ikiwa iko knee height. Lakini unaona hii si imefunika mimi. Kwa hivyo hata tukiweka haisaidi. Itakuwa wastage.
Na 20. Lakini hiyo ndio unaweza pata bags, yani 90 kilo ya mbolea nini ya mahindi. Lakini usipopata nusu ya hiyo mahindi, si unajua mahindi kuna ile chakula yenyewe. Sasa usipoweka top dressing, half of it haitapatikana mahindi, itapotelea. Kwa hivyo most likely unaweza pata kama 12, 13 hivi.
Majority of the farmers planted their maize late due to the shortage of fertilizer in most NCPB depots. Long queues were witnessed at the National Cereals and Produce Board during the planting season. And now, these very farmers are part of those still hoping to access the top-dressing fertilizer, which government said would be compensation for those who received substandard fertilizer. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Paul Rono, acknowledged the delay in supply, saying the heavy rains affected transportation of the commodity.
Within the next 2 weeks, there will be enough fertilizers coming in because a number of lorries were blocked because of the flood. And we are affected also as a ministry.
Ilikuwa ngumu kupata mbolea. Kama nilipata mbolea ambayo sio standard ile ya Tanzania, sijui inaitwa nini. Alafu baada ya kupata hizo sili nilichelewa kupanda mahindi. Sasa mahindi imeamuka na inaamuka na weaknesses. Yellow maize ambayo tuliona sometime back in Trans Nzoia imerudi kwa nguvu.
For farmers, it is a wait and see. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV.
And now to revisit our story on the school feeding program withdrawal and impacts of that. A group of legislators from Baringo County have opposed plans to scrap the 4.9 billion shillings budgetary allocation for the school feeding program for the financial year 2024-2025, terming the decision ill-advised and ill-timed. According to the leaders, the school feeding program is the lifeline of most children in arid and semi-arid lands, and its removal will have detrimental effects on school attendance in the region. Safina Chiangoma takes a look at the impact of this decision on learners in ASOL counties and bandit-stricken areas where 3 meals a day is a luxury many children cannot afford.
At the homestead of Rhoda Lemeiguran and her husband Loris Lemeiguran in Baringo South constituency, the family has woken up to a new day. Rhoda is warming some leftover food for one of their sons to get him ready in time for school, as the rest of the children watch, uncertain of what they will have for breakfast. The couple has 8 children who heavily rely on food from school.
Sisi area hii hatuwezi pika mchana. Watoto sasa wanategemea chakula. Ni jioni tu peke yake ndio wanakula nyumbani. Ni wakati ya weekend. Huwa tunakimbia tu ndio wakule.
Kwa hii chakula ya shule anasaidia watoto. Kwa sababu saa 6 watoto wanakula. Hawezi kuja nyumbani.
News of the plans to scrap the school feeding program from the 2024-2025 national budget has hit this family hard, leaving them uncertain of the fate of their school-going children.
Wezi soma kama anasikia njaa. Sasa hata mwalimu akiambia kitu hata sikia, anafikiria tu vile nitafanya nini, ama nataka iwe jioni haraka ndio niende niangalie ili kitu iko nyumbani. Wengine hata nyumbani apike jioni apate kidogo ama akuje akose.
According to the Baringo South Sub-County Education Department, the student population in public schools in the area increased from 19,000 to 46,000, with a tremendous increase in the number of schools, all courtesy of the school feeding program, which was introduced in 2020 and has proven to be the lifeline of most children.
4 years ago, we had only 24 secondary schools. They have increased by 10 in the last 3 years. And primary schools were only 109 4 years ago. They have increased by 20, by actually 21.
Ukiondoa hapo kwa shule, mwanafunzi afike nyumbani hakuna chochote. Hata asubuhi ataamuka hata hawezi amuka. Hiyo idadi ya wanafunzi itaenda chini kabisa, kwa sababu watu wataamua kutoka na kufanya mambo mengine.
The food insecurity in the region has been further exacerbated by complexities of some pastoralist communities, unfavorable climatic conditions and insecurity.
We people from these ASAL areas where there is banditry, where there is floods, where there is invasion of prosophies, we don't have this land that we can cultivate, we don't have islands that we can get food. So we rely on this feeding program for our children to come to school.
The number of orphans here in this sub-county caused by the constant banditry is overwhelming. And these children are staying with their grandparents, and they are only able to go to school because of the food is in school.
Ningeshauri wahusika ya kwamba waliipata ikiwa hapo wasiguze, na kama ni kuguza waangalie kwingine.
While appearing before the National Assembly Education Committee, Basic Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang strongly opposed the scrapping off of the 4.9 billion shillings budgetary allocation for the program for the financial year 2024-2025, asking legislators to intervene.
The Constitution gave Parliament the authority and power to appropriate. So we are asking this House to appropriate resources to feed our children.
And as members of Parliament seek to solve this puzzle, the fate of over 4.5 million learners who are beneficiaries of the school feeding program remains unknown. 43,000 drawn from public primary and ECD schools in Baringo South, Baringo North, Tiati and Mogotio constituencies.
I want to appeal to my colleagues, I want to appeal to the relevant ministry and to everybody that can we return the school feeding program back and even enhance, improve, put more food to schools.
Any budget from the Ministry of Education without money to employ the 20,000 teachers, money to provide food under the school feeding program will not see the light in Parliament.
Safin Acheng Oma, Citizen TV.
And hundreds of residents from Cheptigit village in Kio Valley will tonight spend the night in the cold as the Kenya Wildlife Service has embarked on the demolition of houses for what it terms as encroachment. According to KWS, inhabitants have encroached Lake Kamnarok Game Reserve, threatening lives of wildlife in the area, necessitating the process to reclaim it back. And as Crispin Otieno now reports, the affected villagers say the exercise has inflicted lifelong scars amid a massive trail of destruction in the area.
A cloud of despair hangs heavy over Kio Valley in the wake of demolitions, affecting at least 200 residents in the area. Families literally struggling to save whatever they can. James Cheboy, a 40-year-old, is one of the residents who have been hit hard in this village. The evidently disturbed man was born here, and his parents were buried in this village. This has been home for him. Here, he struggles to straighten his falling house using sticks. KWS officials are on the rampage, setting houses ablaze and destroying whatever structure they find standing on Komnarok Game Reserve's land.
Sisi tunawachukua wale wameenda. Sasa kutoka siku ya jana tulienda nje mali tulipata huko juu. Tuaenda kazi huko uruti takuta nyumba imeangushwa.
He is living on hope together with his 5 children that perhaps he will find a temporary refuge elsewhere. He, however, has no answers on where he will spend the night together with his vulnerable children. It is the story shared by Isaiah Cherewa, a resident of the neighboring Kipsengeru village. His house was also reduced to ashes by the no-nonsense armed KWS officers. He lost all his property, including the family's food store. The incident has torn his family apart. Up to now, he is yet to locate his children.
Iko hata wimbi kidogo kwa histo na alichoma kaisha. Sasa hao walikuja tu peke yao, hawakuja choma nyumba na hakuna mtu. Hii yangu hii ni ya mwisho kuchoma na wakwaenda na watoto walitoroka.
Sasa unakuja kuchoma nyumba ya mtu mwanaume kama mimi mbele ya watoto yangu na hakuna makosa, ujapatia mimi notice ili nijipange nione notice iko namna gani.
Political leaders from the area have condemned the manner in which the eviction are being conducted.
I don't know of any training ama manual yoyote ambayo inakuruhusu wewe kama askari kuchukua kibiriti na kuchoma nyumba ya mtu. Hata iwe iko nini ama nini, hata ikiwa iko ndani ya wapi. Kuna njia ambayo ya kuzungumzia mwananchi mpaka mkubaliane na yeye.
The KWS commander leading the operation appealed to the area leaders to shun politics and instead help in protecting the already vulnerable ecosystem, threatening both land and aquatic animals.
We urge the community plus the county leadership to allow KWS to carry out their normal operations without politicking.
The affected families called for speedy intervention by government to expedite compensation for losses incurred. Crispin Otieno, Citizen TV.
All right, taking a very short break right here on Citizen Weekend. We're back with much more in just a bit. Stay with us. Welcome back. 4 suspects were arrested and 3 others escaped in Makutano area of Kirinyaga after they were found ferrying suspected donkey meat to Nairobi. The suspects slaughtered 30 donkeys in the wee hours of the morning and loaded the meat in 2 waiting vehicles. Angry residents intercepted the 2 vehicles loaded with the meat and arrested the suspects before setting one of the vehicles ablaze. And as Francis Mtalaki reports, one of those arrested confessed that the said meat was being transported to Burma Market in Nairobi.
Residents of Kiminji area, Mwea West, Kirinyaga County woke up to a shocking incident. 30 donkeys have been slaughtered in the wee hours near Sagana River. Angry residents intercepted 2 vehicles loaded with the donkey meat. 4 suspects were arrested.
Sasa sisi tulisikia duru usiku. Tukatoka kwa nyumba bio bio. Tukaambiwa tugojewe zipare, gari imetoroka. Sasa kidogo tukaipata hapa. Tukakuja tukaichoma.
Sasa watu wakaulizana, kwani hapa tunakulaga nini, nyama ya punda? Na baada ya kuulizana namna hiyo, sasa wakaona vizuri wakibizana na wale watu wakakibizana na wao mpaka wakashikwa watu 2, lakini hao wengine walitoroka.
Punda za hapa mmechukua wapi? Ndio mkuja mchinja hapa.
3 other suspects are believed to have escaped, with those arrested revealing that they had already transported some meat to Nairobi for 10,000 shillings.
Pia alikuwa wamepanga hiyo story yote, hata wakaingia kwa boma wakatoa watoto.
According to residents, these suspects slaughtered the donkeys suspected to have been stolen from the area.
Watu wamekasirika juu kuna watu wenye wamekuwa akiiba, wanatoka hapo wanaenda huko polisi wanaachiliwa juu wako na pesa.
Na tumekamata magari 2, moja ni Probox na hiyo ingine ni Mitsubishi aina ya Pajero. Zote zilikuwa zimebeba nyama ambazo kwa saa hii polisi pia wamekuja na tunangoja sasa waendelee na utafiti yao.
Area Assistant Chief Zakaria Mushiri has urged residents to be on high alert, saying cases of donkeys being stolen in the area is on the rise. Francis Mtalaki, Citizen TV.
Now, a call to action. The reason why this story is very significant is because Kenya's National Donkey Welfare Day is celebrated on the 17th of May every year, right here in the country. And basically what it does is that it encourages donkey owners to protect these animals, to value them as important animals, which need to be taken care of, considering the vital role they play in improving people's lives. They carry your mitungis from river to river. They really have become beasts of burden, and therefore to hear that their meat is actually being sold to unsuspecting consumers is heartbreaking. And there was drama in Bamburi, Mwisho wa Matatu area, Kisauni constituency, Mombasa County, after a section of residents and political leaders and private developers clashed over the ownership of a piece of land. Residents and leaders claim the land belongs to the county government of Mombasa, and the private developers have been blocking a contractor from putting up a public toilet in the area. They say the investors have built residential houses on riparian land. However, the private developers have rubbished the claims, maintaining that they bought the controversial piece of land from the county government of Mombasa.
Shida yetu sisi ni choo hapa Bamburi stage. Pili, hatuna mambo mengi, hatutaki mambo mengi. Tunahitaji yule mmiliki wa hii plot anayesema yeye ni yake atuletee zile certificate zake.
Nataka haki yangu na mimi pia aishughulikie. Asinibague akaona labda mimi ni mkaazi mwingine.
Hii plot ni yetu, tulipewa na county na tukalipa kila kitu, approval plan kila kitu. Na tulijenga mpaka tukamaliza, tukafungua maduka hapa, tukawa tumekodisha.
Na mimi kwa vile you've spoken justice and you want to stand with justice, I will stand with you, and believe you me, Mombasa County government, whoever did it, kama ameondoka kama yuko, the office of the government is not, there is no vacant.
The Auditor General has flagged the e-Citizen Revenue Accountability Statement for the year ended 30th June 2023, questioning the accuracy of revenue receipts amounting to 15.5 billion shillings, which the Auditor General says cannot be confirmed. According to the report, which was tabled before the National Assembly Finance and Planning Committee, revenue statements amounting to over 600 million shillings do not present fairly the financial position of e-Citizen Revenue Accountability Statement and performance for the financial year ended 30th June 2023. Seth Olale has the details.
A review of the e-Citizen Revenue Accountability Platform and the revenue statements by the Office of the Auditor General has revealed variances between balances reflected in the revenue statements, e-portal system and the ledger, reflecting an amount of 15.5 billion shillings. At the Registrar of Motor Vehicles, variance between revenue statements and e-portal system receipts amount to 12 million shillings. Variance between revenue statements and ledger balances was 35 million shillings, while variance between e-portal system receipts and ledger balances amounts to 22 million shillings.
E-commerce and digital skills.
In flagging the inconsistencies in the e-Citizen Revenue Accountability, the Office of the Auditor General states in the report, in the circumstances, the completeness and accuracy of the receivers of revenue receipts of 15.5 billion shillings could not be confirmed. The Office of the Auditor General further highlighting anomalies in the cash and cash equivalent balance in the e-Citizen Revenue Accountability Platform, in which a statement of financial assets reflects a balance of 611 million shillings in respect of bank balances, including 436 million shillings maintained in 6 bank accounts at 2 local banks. The Office of the Auditor General noting that cash books and bank reconciliation statements for the 6 bank accounts were not provided for audit. Further, Management prepared a combined bank reconciliation statement for $3 accounts, contrary to Public Finance Management Regulations 2015, which require accounting officers to ensure that bank accounts reconciliations are completed for each bank account held. And therefore, the completeness and accuracy of the bank balances of 611 million shillings could not be confirmed.
Then we have also been able to...
The Office of the Auditor General also raising a red flag on unsupported prior year balances of 146 million shillings relating to revenue received that had not been transferred to the respective collecting agencies. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
And long queues were witnessed in a number of polling stations during the United Democratic Alliance Party primaries held on Saturday in Narok and Homa Bay counties. In Homa Bay County, the grassroots elections were marred with hitches as the names of delegates were missing on the voting list in some polling stations. In Narok County, the voting exercise was smooth and peaceful, but long queues were witnessed in a number of polling stations as delegates turned up in numbers to vote for their preferred candidate.
Tuko kundi mbili hapa na hii kundi mbili tunapiga kura na amani.
We have had our members, they have come in numbers to vote. It also should be known that there are categories when there are people are unopposed, they don't appear mostly there, so there are different categories which are in.
Welcome back. Somaliland Ambassador to Kenya Mohammed Ahmed Mohamud has called for the strengthening of ties between Kenya and Somaliland. Ambassador Mohammed, who was leading Somaliland's 33rd independence anniversary celebrations at the Ngong Racecourse, pointed out the people-to-people relationship between Somaliland and Kenya, which he described as strong. He said many Somaliland citizens live and work in Kenya, while Kenyans also contribute significantly to various sectors in Somaliland. Nairobi woman representative Esther Passaris, who attended the celebrations, noted that in the last parliament they formed a friendship group to strengthen bilateral relations between the two nations.
The relationship between Kenya and Somaliland, which people to people, because of there are a great people of Somalilanders live here. Many Kenyans also working in Somaliland. So this is a very big day, a day that Somaliland has made a lot of milestones and also made a lot of contribution to Africa. Because of Somaliland, it's a democratic country, it's a free country, a country that many people enjoy peace, security, freedom of expression, free economy.
Okay, Somaliland, in Parliament, in the last Parliament, they formed a friendship group between the two parliaments. And in this Parliament, again, they formed a friendship group between Somaliland and the Kenyan Parliament. So I'm very proud of all of them standing up and trying to get independence for their country and also trying to get recognized as an independent state.
And as part of its corporate social responsibility, popular online gaming platform Shabiki.com has been distributing water tanks to various institutions, schools and churches across the country with the aim of uplifting the living standards of Kenyans by ensuring they have access to clean water. By providing the water tanks, Shabiki hopes it will help beneficiaries harvest water during this rainy season for future use. Shabiki.com director Fred Afune has at the same time promised to continue with the program aimed at supporting needy Kenyans. Steve Shitera reports.
Students at Shiongo Mixed Secondary School in Kakamega County could not hide their delight after receiving this 10,000-litre water tank from Shabiki.com. A clear testimony that it will contribute to the learners' well-being. And they joined hands to offload the token from the truck ready for use.
We need those students to have access to clean water. And that's the reason why we decided there's that gap in society. There are many other areas that need to be looked at, but we said that this year let's focus on providing water harvesting and storage facilities.
The school principal lauding Shabiki team for their kind gesture.
We don't know how risky it is along the ways as they go to fetch water from the rivers. So giving us this tank will help us in maintaining students right in school so that we don't waste time going to look for water. We are very happy to receive the support under CSR program of Shabiki.com.
Shabiki.com is replicating this to various learning and religious institutions across the country.
Nimefurahia sana kwa sababu Shabiki.com wametufanyia kitu ambayo hatunjawahi fanyiwa, wametuletea tank.
Hii tangi itatusaidia kwa mambo mengi, hasa katika parokia hii, kwa sababu tumekuwa tukihangaika kutafuta maji. Itatusaidia kupata maji ya mvua ambayo inasaidia kanisa pamoja na community, sio kanisa peke yake.
Saa zingine ikifika wakati kama ni wa kupika, ukiangalia mtungi hauna maji, uanze kupiga teke mtungi mmoja, mbili, labda kuna maji kidogo yamebaki, lakini kumbe hakuna. Tunachukua muda mrefu kuzunguka katika area hii kutafuta maji. Lakini tunafuraha ni kwa sababu ya Shabiki.com.
Among the counties that have benefited from the water tanks include Siaya, Taita Taveta, Kericho, Busia, Meru, Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu, Homa Bay, Migori, Kakamega and Elgeyo Marakwet.
Maana tumejionea hayo katika shule yetu ya Kaptalamwa. Aya, Shabiki.com waye, tuseme waye.
As Mutituni fraternity, we are very happy and we appreciate.
Every Sabbath in Sinai Church, we used to carry a bottle of water for drinking. But today I'm very proud and I want to thank them that we won't carry water anymore.
The distribution exercise is ongoing and has benefited 45 institutions so far. At the Motherly Care Children's Home in Ruai, Nairobi County, we found pupils being taken through a Kiswahili lesson. They are yearning for a better future, and most of them who are orphans depend on well-wishers to facilitate their studies and basic needs. The administrator, Moffat Oseko, expressing his gratitude to Shabiki.com, saying that the tank donation has eased their worries, as water shortage will now be a thing of the past.
Si kawaida kwa wakati huu kupata mtu ambaye anajitolea kutusaidia. Kwa hivyo kwa tanki hii ya maji ambayo tumepewa kama msaada itachangia pakubwa.
At Nginduri Primary School, the head teacher Thomas Hinga tells us that they had installed gutters to tap rainwater during the rainy season, and the donation could not have come at a better time. The Betting Control Licensing Board BCLB leadership urging other corporates in the betting industry to emulate Shabiki.com.
Shabiki.com has continuously showed a commitment to positively impacting the areas in which they operate, specifically in the Kenya jurisdiction. And today we gather to recognize and celebrate their most recent corporate social responsibility initiative, which involves the donation of 10,000 liters water tanks to over 17 counties.
The efforts by Shabiki.com is to uplift the living standards of Kenyans, even as it continues with their business of awarding lucky winners on Kenya's leading gaming platform, Shabiki.com. Steve Shitera, Citizen TV, Nairobi.